Yeah, Golden Guardians playing through bottom lane, something I definitely want to look forward to. Of course, Cloud9 have been pretty good in their own right. They are 5-1 with this roster. After a terrible start, I gotta say it's pretty positive for them.
Yeah, I mean, starting 1-5, that was pretty rough, and then with this roster, they have been very, very successful, shattering a lot of the expectations. People had talked about this Cloud9 roster going to be 10th place. They're going to be the worst team in the league. It has kind of come full circle, and they are back, on track. They are looking pretty good, and Reaper has been pretty vocal about the fact that Jensen, is enabling Blaber. He's taking a bit of a back seat, playing more supportive picks. We've seen a couple of Zilean games, Lourlo game, a couple of Ornn games, playing more of that supportive role and really enabling their aggressive jungler to have success. And hey, Kindred first pick kind of lends itself to that story even more. Blaber going to be going aggressive once again.
Yeah, his most played by far in that jungle role, and pretty much insta-lock for Cloud9. So this draft apparently going according to plan for them. They wanted these picks.
Blaber and two supports.
Yeah, again, it's Zilean, Kindred in that jungle mid duo, and happy to play Braum into Tahm Kench. So Golden Guardians got 15 seconds to grab one final champion. What's it going to be?
Let's see. It's looking like the answer may be that Ryze, but
it is.
It's pretty crazy actually seeing how successful we have seen Jensen be. All time, he still has actually never lost on Zilean, so he is now 7-0 on the champion. Yeah, definitely his best win rate with any champions like that many games. So pretty impressive stuff. We'll see if he can kind of continue that level of success. Blaber certainly has been looking good on the Kindred as well. I think ever since that early first week where he talked he wasn't playing aggressive enough, he has really been stepping up to the plate, making it work for the team, and even at times acting as the initiation as a Kindred, which is not something you really expect to see or be talking about, but he's been jumping forward, he's been playing aggressively, knowing he has that supportive mid laner behind him, and knowing he has the backup from the rest of his team.
And of course, you got to be careful about what he attacks, though, because keep in mind, Gragas can always explosive casting forward. If he lands it well, he can separate the champions from the Zilean. Theoretically possible. Of course, Ryze with the root and Tahm Kench to save the targets. Maybe those are options, but still waiting to see what comes through on both these sides. You're going to see the Jace and the Gangplank banned away from Licorice, who has been an absolutely outstanding performer for Cloud9 right now. This top lane has been truly incredible for them. Lourlo's had, I would say, a fairly rough split. He actually is the bottom of the league in kill participation for top laners. He's not been part of this. Of course, Golden Guardians mostly been playing around this Heimerdinger. Things like the Fiddlesticks, of course, not this game. They played Tahm Kench, but bot lane has been the focus for them, and the Heimer has been part of that.
Big concern for Golden Guardians, if you lock in the Heimer, is you don't have physical damage. And I think that's one of the major reasons why they may not be going for it. You already have Ryze, Gragas, and Tahm Kench. Where is your AD threat going to come through when top lane GP, Jace, Gnar are already all banned? So that may be what pushed them away from it and onto this Varus, where people have been going for kind of the physical damage on hit style builds, rushing Blade of the Rune King most likely. Sneaky with the Kaisa, so double marksman here. Yeah, could go for the AP build, but most people are going AD, and Zilean does end up being still quite a large magic damage threat. Ornn for initiation, so this really is about enabling, supporting these two marksmen. Blaber and Sneaky, they are going to be the focus. A lot of fun interactions, though, with the Kindred ultimate in this game. You talked about the Gragas ultimate. The Zilean bombs basically cover the entire Kindred ultimate as well, so if you want to try to hop in there, your easy pickings for a Zilean. Yeah. Very easy for an Ornn to set up there, too. We'll have to find out what is that last pick going to be. It is ChoGath. So, again, this really has been one of the stories that the analysts have been talking about. We have been talking about solo as well. Is one of the reasons I think that the red side has been doing so poorly in North America is the inability for teams to have successful counter picks on the red side. That is the whole advantage of that side, right? You have to ban out the OPs because you don't get first pick, but you can counter pick both solo lanes if you want because you have last pick in the first round, last pick in the second round. But when teams opt into tank versus tank matchups, when teams opt into, kind of stalemate, farm it out style lanes, well, you have then ceded your advantage in picks and you have a disadvantage in bans, and thus you're probably going to be likely to lose the game.
Yeah, and that's rough. It's maybe a catch-22 for Golden Guardians because they have tried that style before, seeing things like the AD Cannon and the Camille and whatnot, and it's backfired for them time and again. So, as much as it might suck to lose one of the theoretical advantages of playing on the red side, if they want to play through bot, that's actually been working for them as far as individual games are concerned. And as the coaches walk off stage, and Reaper will shook hands with head coach, and out they go.
Yeah, and it is very interesting. And one thing I would add, is you don't always have to solo, have your solo lanes as the counter pick. You can even leave support for last pick and try to get a 2v2 matchup advantage. But either way, we'll see how effective they are going to be. It's going to be tank versus tank in the bottom lane. So much riding on the shoulders of Blaber and Sneaky here for the Cloud9 composition. These marksmen have got to get farmed up, have got to be enabled, and they certainly have the tools around them to have a successful game.
Okay, so Cloud9 playing a lot around Blaber and Sneaky and this undefeated Zilean for Jensen. Good luck, have fun. You two said in all chat here, Blaber, Lourlo, and Deftly exchanging pleasantries. As the Golden Guardians, of course, load on the Rift as well. Deftly and Matt have been keys to success. I think Mickey has been great as well. We'll see if those three can put in the heavy lifting they have done through much of this split. Ryze, kind of on the outside looking in, getting a couple of plays throughout North America, certainly can take over games.
But it feels like
it's
it's been a while since we have seen that, right? And I always feel like Ryze, when you talk to a lot of the pros, they love this champion because in scrims, there's often way more skirmishing. There's mid-game and early game fighting much more often. And I think that Ryze is so powerful in that stage of the game. In the later stage, it can be difficult in those team fights because you have to thread those cues into the carries. But when there is an Ornn and a Braum and all these guys standing in the front line, it can be difficult for Ryze to have that same level of team fight effectiveness. And you are a relatively low or mid-range mage, so you can't just be kind of sitting back. You have to really get in the mix of things, which can make it tough for him. Worth noting, we have a double spellbook here in the bottom lane. Zeyzal going to be starting with the cleanse. It is going to be heal for Matt. I've been seeing more supports doing this as their ADs are actually bringing teleport.
Yeah.
So you just say, okay, great, I'm the heal for you. I'm going to play that very supportive role. You can spellbook it out for a TP back to lane yourself, but this way, you're just kind of having that more guaranteed defensive ability. Exhaust can be extremely powerful, but sometimes it's harder to get value with an exhaust than it is with a heal.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And of course, Matt is going to do his very best to even bring those combat summoners when needed into a team fight. Exactly exhausting a Kaisa might be difficult, but can always spellbook that later on if required. Either way, we are in this laning phase with the early push going towards Golden Guardians. A creative bombs and a rune prison here in the mid, but Mickey coming out worse for the wear on that one.
Yeah, both mid laners are going for Inspiration Secondary. They're going to take the Time Warp Tonic. That is why they are starting with double Corrupting Potions. A lot of people are doing Time Warp Tonic Biscuits as their secondary, Corrupting Potion as their starting item, and they really do end up with a tremendous amount of sustain. It becomes very difficult to actually push them out of lane, and if you don't take it, then they can kind of wear you down. So a lot of people are just saying, all right, well, if you take it, I'm going to take it, and then it's just kind of a stalemate.
It even gives away a Cashman in the last hit right there, Mickey, as he walks back in towards that one. Blaber getting through his camps. He's done a pretty greedy set of camps, though. He's taken down Raptors and Wolves as well, so fourth camp goes down very slowly with his lack of mana regen, and it's going to be generally fine. Yeah. Contractz take down bottom Scuttle. Looks like Kindred Mark is on that one, and Contractz going to get that without issue, so denies the first one away from Blaber. Mickey shoves in mid with what is temporarily CS lead, but is likely tied up by Jensen getting these minions.
Yeah, we'll see how well he can last it, but probably going to be able to get most of that. Did actually miss the cannon, though, so that kind of sucks. And yep, they both are playing Biscuits. So, you know, as expected, it's going to be Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic for those mid laners. Full focus on the sustain, obviously giving you a little bit of flat mana there as well, which is going to be really nice for the Ryze. And C9 sniffing out something down here.
Yeah, Zeyzal wants to stop him. Actually, the barrel doesn't quite kill the small little guys, but Contractz will still force the camp to despawn. It's going to be a little bit of gold taken away. Blaber, though, of course, slightly faster at the clear, temporarily ahead in gold, and might look for something to steal away, or maybe a gank to be had. Not spotted by the Trinket Ward, I believe, just yet. Now going to look for Mickey, who walks right in, and of course, right into Jensen. But not yet going for the play until he finally face checks through, but that gave enough time for Contractz to show up. Finds it slow, out they walk, no summoners down.
Yeah, and Mickey critically had already procced Phase Rush, so he had that slow, you know, kind of immunity or slow removal there, and was able to just easily zip out. The slow coming through from Contractz on mounting Dread, or sorry, Blaber on mounting Dread there, really didn't do much of anything.
Meanwhile, the bot lane push is an 11 CS lead. That will be tied up at least a little bit, but I don't think it'll be perfect CS here for Sneaky under the turret, so it will be a temporary advantage. And again, Golden Guardians throughout the first half of the round robin went 5-4. They had some really good games. A lot of those were bot lane dives because they would have the pushing 2-on-2, and Contractz would come down, they'd find the dive together. In the back half of the split, they are 0-5, and they have mostly failed to play around bot lane. Even when they got advantages, that famous Fiddlesticks triple kill, for example, failed to capitalize on that and failed to go to their sort of strategic advantages. I'm curious to see if Golden Guardians can kind of revisit that formula for success. But right now, Cloud9 attacking into the mid lane. Mickey, though, getting a trade. Again, pops Phase Rush. EWQ, gets in the shield, walks away. still losing health though, will have to teleport back to lane.
Yeah, but good stuff from Mickey being able to deal with that jungle pressure, and Blaber just there really to kind of cover Jensen, I think, to allow him to push it back out. Despite the fact Jensen got low, he had the biscuits, heals back up, and probably going to be a tier start for both of those mid laners. So far, definitely a Matt, though, laning very well. You expect them to have the advantage here, I think, with the Varus and the Kaisa in these early levels, and yeah, they're kind of making good on that promise so far.
Pretty good chunk there. Of course, Mickey doesn't get the kill. It won't matter. Jensen has his teleport still available, so as long as he doesn't trade too much of his health far away, it's going to be all right for them. Contractz, I believe, will not stop the recall in time. Yeah, if there was maybe 2 seconds later, Body Slam and Flash could have landed or something, but now Jensen can get back to lane no problem. Actually going for Dark Seal and Sapphire Crystal and Boots, so yeah. If he wanted to, he could have bought it. Instead goes for move speed and maybe going towards Roa or just simply a Luden's Echo or something like that.
Yeah, and the Dark Seal also is just, it's almost like Singed builds. It's kind of funny to see like everyone's just kind of doing the Singed style of play with Corrupting. Dark Seals actually boost you know, the amount kind of you're getting healed from those potions, 25% additional, plus you have Time on Tonic, which makes it last longer and heal even more. So it really is kind of more about that early focus, and this could mean that he is just picking up a delayed tier and not too worried about actually stacking up that shield, or he could simply be going for Roa. A lot of Zilean players do like to actually get the Roa, forgo some of the early CDR, simply because it makes them harder to actually just burst straight up in one shot. And you don't want to be too squishy, because you need to be able to survive at least to get that ultimate off.
Flash up for both mid. Here comes Jensen, body slammed on. Big damage across, gets the ult across. And he's actually going to auto it, so Mickey does not want to leave him up. And here comes the re-engage, though. It's going to be the ulti, the knock of Tahm Kench. Rest of the team might come around. Ryze doesn't go much of anywhere, but it's going to be Mickey forced to flash out of this one as everyone shows up in the mid lane. Flash is down in a lot of places, no kills just yet.
Yeah, still, I would say, though the health advantage goes to C9, they're the ones who actually spent the extra summoner. It was the TP used from Licorice to come down. And both teams are going to have to back off, so pretty closely traded back and forth there. Flash is used by Contractz and Mickey. Flash is used by Blaber. TP came in from Licorice, and Sneaky just heads right back down to bot to try to farm this up. So a lot of action exploding there in the mid lane, but not too much coming.
As minions go down back and forth again, we look at a pretty standard middle lane. Summoner's down, sure, in some cases. Jensen still has his flash, though, and yeah, equal farm over there. All right, now Licorice doing pretty well with Ornn. Most recently, that champion got nerfed a few patches ago, and mostly laning phase nerfs to his W reliability, but still laning pretty well here in this top side.
Yeah, and you know, Ornn is definitely not a dominant laner anymore. You know, when it first came out, after those initial buffs, he really could just kind of smash melee matchups in lane. Now it's so much for the playmaking, so much for the ultimate, and that is why you saw Licorice is going to hold on to his TP. TP's mid lane, looks to the play there, forces a couple flashes with his ultimate. That is where you kind of find a lot of your success. For ChoGath, I think it's more okay to sit in a side lane a little bit more, because you can scale up very heavily and become a pretty big damage threat with that feast once you have enough stacks. So it's up to Licorice to find those plays and really just kind of set up for his double marksman.
Well, we'll see when those marksmen come through. We're still looking at the bot lane side of this one with a 16 CS lead for Deftly and Matt. They are actually growing their advantages here and pushing farther and farther ahead. Of course, Sneaky, I believe, it TP'd recently towards mid and didn't get much for it. Or just TP back lane, I forget which one. But regardless, it is still pretty solid, but no kills still yet coming through. A bit of a slower paced early game here today.
Yeah, it is going to be the Roa for Jensen. Yeah, towards that with Catalyst, so definitely a lot harder to take down with this build. Golden Guardians, though, I really do like this. Early Infernal is up. That is a big ticket dragon. Cloud9 knows they're on it, but shouldn't be able to do anything about it because it is 4 members here for the Golden Guardians. This is kind of the advantage that they get from their bottom lane doing well in those early stages, and Blaber is going to be forced to try to go up to the top side and get something done there.
As Miniwave goes down, Cloud9 has to be a little bit reticent about the fact that they don't have great wards to trap Gragas. They know he can't be in Tri-Brush, but they knew he was over there at the Drake, so they shove in the wave. They back up a little bit, they're going to stay safe. Blaber puts some control wards towards top side. He knows this is safe because, again, of that aforementioned Drake that Gragas took down, but not yet going to be the dive, though the pillar comes up. Licorice losing a couple hundred health, and now actually they will go for it. Lourlo is going to be slowed down, flashing away, but that's going to be a pretty easy knock-up to land. Do they have the follow-through as the chunk comes in? He's going to stay forward, almost gets the burst. No, first blood comes across. Lourlo's hold not enough damage. And here comes the re-engage, but Jensen's already here to back for the rest of the matchup. A TP coming in on top of this one as the rest of the squad can come through. Bombs come down to revive. That's actually a layer of Volt, which is not ideal for Cloud9. A beautiful knockback, but he's going to be resurrecting. Will it be be enough defense though to keep Blaber alive. Bit of damage for Mickey, but follow through isn't even going to be there. A root in front. The shield comes through for Zeyzal. Contractz still wants in. Now here comes Tahm Kench as Matt shows up. This could be the burst as Ryze shows up. Can he find the rune prison? Zeyzal will be sniped and Golden Guardians able to trade the kill.
They get a kill back, but they're actually going to lose a lot on the bottom side because Sneaky is staying down there farming. They are going to lose those minions. He's going to be able to catch up in farm and didn't actually spend his teleport. Contract's going to try to get back this blue buff. Does end up being a fairly even trade. I'd say with the first blood going to Cloud9 is certainly positive for them though. Blaber goes in. Lourlo, trying to avoid that Ornn ultimate, but slowed up. Does get hit by the Ornn ult. No way really to get out, so he just tries to trade back as much damage as possible. And then the TP's coming from Golden Guardians. They're looking for the collapse. This is a bit of a miscommunication or mistake here from Cloud9. They do overlap the ultimates, and had Contractz waited just a split second longer there, I think the Zilean ultimate would have actually expired, and that would have just been Blaber dying immediately. Maybe they then get a couple more kills. But either way, it was Cloud9 fully in retreat while Sneaky pushed the bottom lane. And Golden Guardians is able to at least trade back on.
Yeah, so the first blood, the only difference there, and of course the alone time bot lane means suddenly Sneaky only within 7 CS with a partial wave at his turret. Gonna make that one a lot closer. Cloud9 up 300 gold. Overall, as a result, something expected based on how this game's been going. A double stun's gonna land. The Braum is here as well. That is certainly Mickey falling, and Jensen now his first kill on the board.
Yeah, nicely set up there by Jensen. The time warp slowing down Mickey so much. Sets up for the double bomb. Stunned, easy Q there from Zeyzal, and they pick up a kill, and we'll be able to push this in. Pressuring in multiple lanes now as the base timings for Golden Guardians. Definitely was still up top. He gets his Blade of Rune King, and I think that bounty just spawned as it was about to die, it looked like, for Blaber, so that is pretty fortuitous.
Yeah. Fortuitous, one stack now for this Kindred. No one wards that Thrive ref, though. Golden Guardians, will they be surrounded as the recall comes through for Jensen? Now to TP to that ward as well. It's going to be a 4v2 dive with the Chrono Shift available, and they're going to go right in towards this. Looking to knock down Tahm Kench first. He cannot save himself. The shield might come on. No, he's chain stunned, and Deftly cannot go anywhere. The bot lane dive much better on the Cloud9 side. Zeyzal with about 2 health stays alive. Contractz wants in, can't get the explosive cast to land on the appropriate targets, and out goes Cloud9 2 for 0.
Insult to injury there. Zeyzal just barely staying alive, and Contractz trying to trade one back. Gets a flash at least, but it will be 2 kills for Cloud9, and what was very nicely set up. Blaber gets behind. You could see that Jensen was already basing, setting up for that TP. And they pull off what was a very good dive. Yeah, so here it is one more time. Blaber already was there with the pink ward. The TP comes in. Madden definitely spotted, but really not a lot of a way to get out of this one. And they have the Zilean ultimate for next Sneaky. Zeyzal was hanging up the whole time. And even if Zeyzal goes down here, it's still a pretty good trade. And the flash ultimate would have got Sneaky, but he was able to flash out.
Yeah. Oof. Well, Golden Guardians are running out of control in this game at the very least. Down now 1,600. And that one kill, all they've gotten so far was a trade. Rift Herald, of course, did go their way, and that's going to get something in mid. This turret is not quite dead to a charge, but close. And if they follow through, this will be actual first turret of the game, based on how everything else goes out. Charge will land, Smite won't matter. And will they put the auto attacks down? No, the weak point's going to get shot at, and the turret will stay alive, about 400 health. And Golden Guardians need to pull a rotation down there to get the extra money. It's 300 extra gold to knock that down. I think they kind of need that surge of income. Yeah,
if Jensen roams one more time, Mickey can likely just knock that down. But at least they got it very low, and Mickey may be able to step up and do this now. Bombs are on cooldown, so should be Mickey knocking this down here. Oh, backs up. Probably could have missed that one once the first bomb missed, but...
Yeah, well, he's going to wait for that one. So 112. 2 Ryze auto attacks will kill that. Blaber pushing back Contractz. I am curious if the rotation comes through. Like, Tahm Kench has ult, for example, I believe, so you simply just ult over as the wave comes in, you knock that down, you ensure you get the kill, or you walk up and you ult back to keep your own turret alive, either one. If Golden Guardians lose first turret, I think it's a pretty big misplay to not coordinate that. That's it, Mickey's still playing up, fights up against Jensen. Here comes the stun, here comes the flash forward, the slow in as well. Contractz in the mix, gonna find some damage. Blaber gonna ult to stay alive, and did not get back in the Landrus fight, and now the trade comes through, an explosive cast backwards, but Contractz, his days are numbered, and on the dotted line, he's gonna fall, gets a bit of damage on, but Blaber will still make that happen. Jensen gets his second kill of the game.
2 for 0, and they get the bounty there onto Blaber. Cloud9, right place, right time, anticipating Contractz and Mickey going for that turret, and they are there to respond and maybe able to just get a first turret themselves. I think with the cannon here, it's an easy first turret as TP would have to come in from Lourlo to defend that, but then he loses so much top. So it's going to be Cloud9, everything going their way.
114 health, mid lane outer turret.
And Mickey could have gotten it. I think he could have gotten it on that previous wave, but he was nervous to step up, and here it is one more time. Going in, nice trade onto Jensen, but flashing in there from Blaber. Cloud9 does have to clean this up though. Every time they're actually layering the Zilean ultimate with that Kindred ultimate, does not end up mattering here. So they play this out very well, and the skirmish Blaber able to survive, so not punished for that misused ult. Gets 2 kills, gets first turret and the bounty, and that is so much gold in their pockets.
Backdoor bonus is a thing.
You can do it.
And he's got it. Turret finally goes down for Golden Guardians, but 300 extra gold got swung C9's way because of that delay.
Also worth noticing that Mickey didn't actually go for a Catalyst yet, so he's just going straight towards the Archangels. That's pretty rare. I almost always see people go for a tier Catalyst and then complete an item, so this is a little bit different. He will have some more early CDR and be able to try to get towards that Archangel shield a little bit faster. But Licorice getting the turret on the top side, basically solo, is definitely concerning. I mean, this is that tank versus tank matchup. Yes, there was pressure and Lourlo died once, but I would probably favor the ChoGath in that 1v1.
Yeah, I would too. And 30 CS plus turret without more than that single gank coming through feels a bit more than expected for the matchup.
Certainly.
Sneaky won't quite land, but it will push Golden Guardians back to walk away. As the teleport came through, and Sneaky, as you're mentioning, is going for that attack damage build. The very standard Kaisa build now is Storm Razor into Rageblade. That's the build path here. Of course, Rageblade great with Kaisa passive, but you go towards kind of normal crit otherwise. Yeah,
and the Blade Room King I really like second here for Blaber. When you look at the team composition, where there's ChoGath, Gragas, Tahm, Kench, there's eventually going to be a lot of HP on that squad you can work through. Of course, Gragas for now is going AP, but C9 walk spot, going to get the last outer here on the roam from Jensen and Blaber, and that is just a very big early gold lead for what is going to be an exceptionally strong team fighting team of Cloud9, and Golden Guardians certainly losing their grip on this game.
Yeah, 4.5, almost 5,000 gold puts Cloud9 ahead. I don't know what exactly Guardians can grip on right now. They're losing every single matchup. A nice explosive cast! That's going to be Lamps' fight down. Now Chopper, the Matt's going to spit him out off of it. Zilean's going to pop up with this one. They will get that one down, but Jensen's very, very low. Mickey almost gets the Q to land, but he overextends for it. And Cloud9 still alive. Finally, one trade kill, a second on the board overall for them. The sun coming across is going to force GGS to back off once more. The wave is gone. But a trade of kills is better than Golden Guardians have gotten in a long time.
Yeah, it looked like Blaber got way too far forward there, and you thought Golden Guardians may have been able to pick up a free one, but Blaber gets the ultimate down. This time they do not stack critically, which buys enough time. Jensen gets the ult after his ult expired, and got enough time to kill off Mickey. So pretty decent trade, but the shutdown at least is going to be nice for Golden Guardians. 3-kill shutdowns can be pretty good.
And a new build coming in for Mickey also. I haven't seen a Ether Wisp on Ryze in a while. That builds towards Lichbane. I wonder if that's actually what he's going for, if it's going to be a PoE special and you know, get the move speed build. Yeah, we'll see what comes through. You're right. There's a lot that it could be.
Probably a Spellbinder's Orb, I guess, but we'll see this one more time. Blaber hopping forward. Nice ult from Contractz, really perfectly placed there. Catches him up, and then Matt trying to spit him out. Just barely not able to get him out of range of Jensen because Jensen is sped up and Matt is slowed down when he has someone deep there. So it allowed him to close that gap. Yes, he does go down, but that got them enough time to kill off Mickey and at least make it a trip.
Well, it keeps it a little bit closer. Shutdown gold is nice, and it's only a 4,000 difference. Still big, not insurmountable.
And critically for Golden Guardians, Deftly is still doing very well, right? He is, even on farm, he has 2 kills for himself. He's working towards that second item. They need him to be big, and they're trying to pull off a dive onto Licorice.
LTP is in, 4 versus 1, nowhere to go. Knocked into the air, finally will go into the ground, 6 feet under afterwards as Matt walks away with the stun, the shield on him as well. With the wave, they can go for the turret on top of that.
It looks like there was a canceled C9 teleport there, so perhaps just calling that, hey, even if we TP in, we are going to die, so shove the other lanes. They're going to try to take away this jungle, pressuring on the red buff. You can see them wrapping around behind Deftly. They want to get this mid lane tier 2 down.
Go for mini wave right now. No Sneak, gonna go for the hard dive, and just barely Matt is in range, flashes in, saves his teammate, and here comes the rest. But Mickey's gonna find the root. They're gonna block up with a shield. Zeyzal trying to keep his teammates alive. Where is the Zilean? Gets the revive on the Kindred. Will stay alive for now. Maybe the better Master of Death is now Kindred is gonna stay in the air. A bit of a slow, but out they go, and look out. Contractz is gonna be taking a lot of damage. The bomb does hit through untargetability, gets the kill actually inside of Tahm Kench's belly. Didn't save in time, so a nice kill in that dive.
See how much health the Zilean ultimate actually gave to Blaber. That healed him to full. I was not expecting it to be that big this early in the game, so right back to full health.
1300.
He didn't even have to use his ultimate. They get the kill, and you can really see when you have these strong marksmen, they can play so aggressive because Zilean is giving you that second life, and it takes so many resources from Golden Guardians to kill off the Kindred once that killing them off twice becomes so hard.
And you're absolutely right, Mickey is going towards that Spellbinder's Orb. So more burst early on, didn't want to wait for a Rod of Ages spike, I suppose, and that slow scaling. Smite comes in, Blaber getting another stack, and that's going to be number 4. So that is now 575 range, has more than Sneaky. And Blaber can continue to be very, very effective here on his most played of the split. Even though Kindred did get nerfed this patch, clearly not enough to keep him from playing that champion. Very strong and very good alongside Jensen Zilean.
And I think it's going to look so good for him because that was really kind of the only weakness that he had so far, is he hadn't grabbed a lot of bounties. He has a lot of gold and farm from his kills. So he is going to be really strong now. Getting the extra 75 range is going to make it so much easier for him to combat people like the Ryze, who was already fairly short range. It gives him the same amount of range as this Varus, so easier for him to trade with him also. And Bladed Rune can complete, so he's definitely going to be a threat. And when you're looking at someone like Contractz, he's going for the AP build, Zonia's second. He is going to be squishy, but has the ability to still make big plays, right? Has that upfront burst that Golden Guardians are going to need. But it feels like with both of these kind of, the Res ultimate from Zilean and the Invulnerability ultimate from Kindred, it's really hard because you almost have to catch both of them at the same time to be able to get a kill, right? Otherwise, one will always back up the other.
Yeah, and it's part of what made Cloud9 do so well in this back half. I mean, a lot of Kindred Zilean games together, and they have found a formula that works. Right now, it's not been separated. I assume as they move closer to playoffs, we'll start seeing Zilean bans away. Now, Contractz wants in. Not going to find us engaged, though, but Tahm Kench in the middle of the mix. And this is going to be dangerous for Matt. He's going to be stunned. No shield. Just kills himself with that one. And here is a really big Ornn. It's going to get one. Not quite the knock. It definitely flashes away from that one as Contractz gets over the wall as well, but still a kill picked up. Zeyzal able to kite back and stay alive, and Cloud9 continue to find better picks.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where as soon as you start channeling that ultimate, you realize everyone's there, you want it back, but Sneaky going in!
Flash in for the stun because of the Braum passive, and it happens out nicely. A Rampage now, 4-0 on the Kaisa. Revive still available. Cloud9 can do no wrong.
Yeah, there's no chance of a re-engage because even if you think you can burst down Sneaky, 2 ultimates to back him back up, they are going to go onto the Baron. This one will die so fast with the Rage Blade Kaisa, the Blade of the Rune King, Kindred here. It's going to get melted. Cloud9 get the Baron in full control.
Zeyzal even spellbooked over to Smite to make him go down a little bit faster, and then grab that one without any problems. An 8,000 gold lead almost. The reset ready to go. Mickey should get away with it. But just nothing has been starting for Golden Guardians. They've gotten some Drakes, but nothing else.
Yeah, it's a small victory to get out there, but losing the Baron, losing the kills, it's starting to feel very, very out of control here for Golden Guardians. The playmaking ability is really just down to Contractz. He basically has to find a perfect engage. I don't think you're going to find it from a Varus or the Ryze or anyone else. It's not kind of fast enough. It's not surprising enough. It basically must be body slam flash, catching Jensen and Blaber, or they have to be separated, and you have to kill one of them instantly, or it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, chose silence, feast afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a ton of coverage, and the execution required is insanely high and just might not happen.
Vision.
Yeah, a lot of dominoes have to kind of align very perfectly here. And now Mickey found out this time without the ulti. He's got the flash, gets over the wall. The explosion might be enough, and it is. And Tahm Kench couldn't have saved him anyway. Seraph's shield was used, wasn't enough. Down he goes yet again. 11-3 on the scoreboard, only 24 minutes into the game. The slow one to Matt. Re-engage not going to be found just yet, but top lane tier 2 will fall. Lourlo's got to be careful. He's down to half HP. Now Contractz is in. Will this be the fight? A quick respite popped in. Zeyzal flashes back into the circle, but the stun's going to come back through. Contractz, 2 autos will kill. Quickly saved by Matt. So going to be a big snipe to Sneaky one in. Does he go for it? Get some damage across, and Matt is going to die to the bomb. And again, a kill for Jensen. 5 now on the board, most of the team.
Jensen just crushing it, doing so much damage. Has the Ludens fully stacked Voa, double spell pen items with the Oblivion Orb, and those Sorcerer Shoes. I mean, he even has the 10-stack Dark Seal. Like, this guy is a monster at this point in the game and really taking over. No one can touch those marksmen, and they are going to knock down the first inhibitor of the game.
You can't defend this one. You're 4v5 against a Baron buff, even though there's gold in pockets right now. They're putting a little bit of space. Zeyzal, I guess, a bit injured, but finally that goes down, and they can walk back pretty cleanly. And Golden Guardians have just been letting this game slip away. And now for bot lane tier 2 as the wave comes in.
Yeah, the wave is perfectly timed. They can Baron buff that up. They can at the very least get this tier 2, and then maybe they want to back off, spend some gold, wait for Zilean and Kindred ultimate to be back up before you fight once more. But yeah, they're going to retreat perhaps to Dragon, at least Kindred is. So they could have Zeyzal maybe TP back in. I'm not sure if he's actually used that just yet. So they are going to call for that TP. You can see he's swapping over to it on that Braum, and has it available if need be.
They multitasked all the same as the Drake went down. Now Ocean meets more region. They can stay on the map even longer. As you mentioned, Zeyzal's back in. Knight's Vow ready to go. And linked up with his back line. Golden Guardians up in their base. 30 seconds left on Baron. That's going to be this wave and maybe one more if they need it. Mid's pushing him with supers right as we speak, and this bot lane goes going to low. Explosive cast is going to find Zeyzal, and he's not going to be revived. So 1 for 0. Big stun in the back line, though, with the re-engage coming across. Days might be numbered. Contractz staying alive, though. 5v4. A knock-up on a Blaber, and he can't get revived either. Jensen yet to press the button. Revives in front of the turret. This could be the fight. Golden's Guardians needed. A full health Zilean taking some damage, though. Matt going to stay alive. A snipe not quite going to land either. And as they lick their wounds, C9 choose to stay a little bit longer and finally choose to back up there. So something. Signs of life for GGS, a 2 for 0.
Yeah, that was just about as well done as it could have been. Matt actually devoured Zilean as they burst down Blaber. So Jensen could not actually ult up the Kindred there. So really, really well coordinated from Golden Guardians. We'll see this one more time. Contractz finds the ultimate, separates the team. It's Zeyzal and Licorice who he catches, but look at that. Knocks back Jensen, knocks forward the other two, not in range there to get the ultimate down. And then Jensen, 2 stacks on him. Watch as Matt goes forward here. As Blaber goes in, Matt flash devours, denying the Zilean ultimate. That is a beautiful play from Matt. Really heads up stuff to actually stop that ultimate from coming through.
C9 almost gets some back. Of course, one bomb might have been enough to kill off Matt, so they stuck around for some skill shots. But now the wave clear comes through and we reset one more time. But a 10,000 gold difference as Baron buff is timed out. When you go back to a neutral state on the map, other than the fact that mid lane inhibitor is dead, Golden Guardians will have to sit and wait and scale. As a Rage Blade is underway for Deftly. That'll be a pretty big power spike. He's, of course, an on-hit build right now.
And because, you know, kind of the global gold that has gone the way of Cloud9, a lot of their members are just going to be straight up stronger, have knocked down quite a few more turrets here. And you can see CP already at 3.5 items. Deftly's getting very close to that Rage Blade, though, has, you know, 1,400 gold in pocket, so we'll be able to complete that pretty soon. And so much of the onus is on him, right? He has to be the one putting out this consistent damage. They have to get the perfect engage for Contractz. And if they can coordinate that, they will have their chances to kind of slowly claw back into this game. But it's so tough. I mean, you need to stop 2 members at once.
The push back there with Blaber. Yeah, he's okay. A good shield by Zeyzal actually prevents Gragas getting knockbacks. That's a pretty important thing. You can never knock back or knock in a team with Braum, who is playing heads up, is in the front line, is pressing E in time, and you know, the separation's even harder. You're talking about all the chips stacked against Golden Guardians, the execution requirement insanely high.
And that's where you have to give credit to drafting and to kind of player flexibility, right? And you can say, oh, well, why would you do this? Why would you actually put yourself in this position? Well, they kind of got drafted into that situation. Cloud9 has a very intelligent composition that I think is straight up a lot easier to execute on. And as a result, Golden Guardians are going to have to really play very well. You have to stop multiple ultimates that are going to shut down really everything you want to do.
He was stun over the wall, trying to make the big play for Blaber. He's got to be careful, has to pop the ultimate. And will the re-engage come in time? Jensen's going to be in range for him, but no one's hitting him just yet. Almost sniped, actually. That was close. Definitely almost landed something, but no stun and a nice roam. More brings him to safety, but 2 injured members of Golden Guardians are back in the fountain waiting to regen as the inhibitor turret's going to fall, and the bot lane inhibitor is going to be next for this one. 29 minutes into the game, and it's an 11,000 gold lead. 2 inhibs down, waiting for the Nexus push as the waves are coming in.
And they can just go top. They have minions up there, and you can see, again, how aggressive Blaber is playing. Jumps in, pushes Mickey back, because he knows that the team will be there behind him to actually support him. He can trade out his ultimate aggressively, knowing Jensen still has his to bring him back up, and they are on that 3rd inhibitor tower.
And a half health Ryze might not be able to defend much as the wave is going down. A good bit of wave clear. So the turret will still fall to focus fire as the inhibitors are still dead and minions are still flooding into the base. Golden Guardians, will they make their stand here? Let Triple Inhib go down. They find the root, but Ornn is very tanky. Pops the Stone Plate as well. He's not going to go down. And here comes the call. The Forge got a double knockup. Here comes the burst across, a double already. And only 3 left alive. There could not be anyone left to stop Cloud9 as the inhibitors come back up in the mid lane. Top lane to fall soon. With bot already dead, they can walk this one in. Contractz, Mickey, and Deftly sim up to stop 5 people while down 13,000 gold. The first next turret will fall as Cloud9 continue their winning streak. 5-1, about to be 6-1 here to continue their hold on a playoff spot. Golden Guardians will be alone in last place, and the final dive comes in for a kill. Zeyzal stays up. The stun comes across. Another one, a shutdown for Sneaky as he gets his 5th. The Nexus falls, and Cloud9 continue their quest for playoffs.
Cloud9 win their 5th straight. The rampage continues for them as they are looking so damn good these last few weeks. Golden Guardians still winless in the second half, has lost 6 straight now, but so much credit to that Cloud9 squad. I think the draft was very, very smart. They executed it so incredibly well. Again, we are seeing this Jensen-Blaber duo really showcased so impressively. Blaber playing very aggressively on the Kindred. Jensen, another deathless Zilean game where he is really so impactful, and everything just felt like it was working for the Cloud9 squad.
Yeah, everyone else able to play their roles pretty nicely. Sneaky played fairly aggressive as well. A losing lane for him and Zeyzal. They were on the back foot, but able to show up when they needed to. A pretty decent scoreline on both those players there. Yeah, hugs for the ex-teammates, of course. Zeyzal and Deftly used to play back in Challenger. Licorice on that team as well. Shout out to E United from back in the day. But Cloud9, as you mentioned, 5 in a row, 6-1 with this roster. Their one loss being to Optic, interestingly enough. They will not get a rematch against them. That was already the second half of the split, but
maybe in the playoffs.
Maybe in the playoffs if Optic can make that run. It's a hard schedule for them. But either way, temporarily alone, and I believe 3rd place is Cloud9. 4th place, I should say, but now only a single game behind Echo Fox. They can challenge for that one. A bye would be difficult. It would require a collapse by either TL or 100 Thieves, but either way, they're looking like one of the sweethearts heading into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think as Cloud9, as long as you are continuing on this form, you really do not care what seeding you get going into playoffs, because that is not going to be representative of how strong the team is. They started 1-5 with different rosters. They are dominating with this roster, whether they go into 6th, 5th, 4th, 1st. It doesn't matter who you play. If you're on that form, you're going to be a threat to anyone.
And they are going to be a threatening team, and we'll see more of them in the weeks to come. But for more on that C9 win, we're handing it back off to Avli and Cloud9 support.
Thanks, guys. 5 straight wins for Cloud9. Zeyzal, congratulations on that game. I mean, you guys look like you were in total control of it. How confident were you guys coming into today?
I think going in today, we were pretty confident with our past few weeks. I don't think GGS is looking necessarily much weaker than they have in the past, but it helps that the meta has shifted more from mages to AD carries as well, which means they can't easily get big leads bottom.
And speaking to that, we saw with 8-15, the return of the marksman. How have you been feeling the changes?
The changes on 8-15 have really helped us as a team because Sneaky's such a strong player that if he's on an AD carry late game, you can pretty much rely on him to single-handedly win the game in late game team fights.
And tomorrow you guys are taking on the Team Liquid bot lane. Is this going to be like the ultimate opponent for you in your playoffs run?
I think Team Liquid is probably the best team we'll be playing against, and they're looking good, so yeah, it'll probably be the toughest opponent.
Zeyzal, thank you. And for more, back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Big victory for Cloud9, now on a 5-game winning streak, 5-1 on the back half of the split. But Jat, 3rd time in a row we've seen Jensen on this Zilean pick, and it looks absolutely terrifying. So help me break it down. Help me understand why it is that this pick has come out. Only one team is playing it, and they're finding so much success.
Well, it's the 2nd time they've played it with Kindred, so the combo has something to do with it. They're first picking the Kindred, and then they're getting the Zilean afterwards. And if you look at their bans this game against the Zoe, the LeBlanc, and the Akali, those are all things that could potentially threaten Zilean enough to pull you off of it in team fights. No team is really committing to Zilean as hard as Cloud9, and Jensen is also just really, really good. So the whole time we're watching this game, we're just thinking, man, what a disgustingly powerful combo between Zilean and Kindred.
Right, I mean, you can look at that Talia ban as like, all right, maybe Golden Guardians didn't know that this combo is such a problem because it only saw it once, but now teams need to start paying attention. But when you look at this, previously we're saying, wow, you really need to play Zilean and Kindred well to get effectiveness out of this, but they're not even playing it that well with timing their ultimates. Both were layered on top of each other there, and unfortunately for Contractz, the Zilean ult had not quite run out when the Kindred one did, because it lasted a little bit longer, so he revives, but it's still a 1-for-1, and then they continue to play it out from there.
Yeah, so much of the counterplay of the Kindred ultimate normally is that everyone gets healed at the end, and then everyone is able to take fatal damage. But Zilean breaks that paradigm fundamentally, and you can see C9 is just using the threat of it so well. They actually didn't time it perfectly, as Mark said all these times, overlapping the Zilean ultimate with the Kindred ultimate, but still, even just getting the gank set up for a very strong damage jungler anyway with the slows from Zilean, and how much they were just a duo this game, it felt like, in the mid lane, was super effective.
Yeah, and then from there, in team fights, Kindred just runs in and kind of just tries to hit whatever it can, and then Zilean's so far back that whenever you do focus the Kindred, you get an ultimate on top to revive, and then if you pop that ultimate, there's another ultimate coming down, and during this time, they always pair it up with a pretty strong marksman in the bot lane, so if you're focusing this whole time on a reviving Kindred, like, what do you think Kaisa's doing during this time? She's going to be running around trying
somebody else is pumping out damage.
She's pumping out damage, shredding your front line, or maybe diving into your back line.
Yeah, the one time we saw it without the Kindred was with a Nocturne in the jungle, but they brought in that Tahm Kench, so again, just another saving ability to kind of layer and really make the focus of any other team within a team fight that much more difficult.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know how you beat it in game once I see like a standard team comp. I'm not sure if a standard team comp actually has the tools to deal with this if you don't destroy it early. But once it gets to the mid game, if it's kind of even, it just feels like you have to play team fights immaculately, because if you don't, the Kindred and the Kaisa and everyone is just running wild.
Now, during the game, we were trying to draw some comparisons, right? Because we're saying, okay, this duo looks really powerful, the Zilean and the Kindred. And we started throwing some other ideas out there. The Taric and the Master Yi was brought up as kind of a situation where the invulnerability that Taric allows to a hard carry champion is kind of what makes, again, how do I deal with this E besides hard CC? What are some other picks or other styles that we could see that might perpetuate the same thing?
I mean, it's interesting, like, we don't talk about it often, but Zyra Khan is an example of two champions that work very well together. But this is one of those things. You saw Braum Kaisa when you're having funnel, but this is just another way of getting incredibly strong champions.
Yeah, what's interesting is there's plenty of like soft synergies within League where it's like, oh, Lucian Braum makes sense, double tap, get the stun easier.
Yeah.
But what's happening with some of these combos, like the Master Yi, Taric, and this one, is that they are fundamentally, like Jazz said, changing the paradigm with which they work and really supplementing each other's weaknesses. Like, normally Kindred doesn't want to play frontline because she gets hard CC'd and bursted. Her ult never comes through.
Right.
Zilean says, you know what? You can go as crazy as you want, and if they focus you, nothing happens. And
I go first.
I go first, right? And then if you have a Lourlo, the problem with the Lourlo is, yeah, you get 500 more HP, but they can still burst you through that multiple times because Kindred doesn't build resist.
Right.
And so this combo specifically does seem to fundamentally change how it works. Kind of like the Taric Master Yi, doesn't quite require as much investment in terms of changing your complete play style because these two champions still function pretty well on their own.
I mean, we saw what it took to break that combo in this game, defending their bot lane inhib. It took a Kindred going way too far in, getting hard CC'd to not be able to use her own
simultaneously
while the Zilean finds himself in range of a Tahm Kench to get flash eaten so that he can't ult
you have
as
to
well.
simultaneously CC both ult targets.
And also, Dash, if I knew what combo was like just as good as Kindred Zilean, I would sell that information to an LCS team and I wouldn't tell you.
Okay, that's fair.
Jack, be a team player on the broadcast.
Or people would know it. Like, it's so hard to get these exact combos. Yeah.
All right, but beyond this game and the impressiveness of the pick and the duo synergy that Cloud9 has found, is just their performance most recently. Again, 5-1 now on the back half of the split. Even within, their last 7 games, 6-1.
Yeah.
This team's 8-7 record, while is perfectly representative of their story this summer, I don't feel necessarily reflects their current power level. Absolutely.
They are on such a tear. They've played 9 different players, so the strength of this current lineup feels very strong. But with that being said, Team Liquid 100 Thieves are the
Big
two
matchup.
actually strongest through 15 games so far. So that'll be a test to see if it knocks them back to 8-9, and then all those early losses will come back. So Cloud9's got their most exciting stuff.
Right. Do either of those teams have the hubris to let the Zilean through and say, hey, the other teams didn't execute around it well enough, we can do that? Or do we just pull it out of playability for Cloud9?
To be fair, for Team Liquid and 100 Thieves, with the fact that they're relatively secure, they haven't got their buys locked in yet, but they are looking pretty good. I could see one of those teams leaving it up for data on it, because if they're able to beat it without having to expend bans on it heading into the postseason, that's great information for you, because if you get into a best-of-5 versus them, you're no longer throwing bans at this one specific strategy. So I could see them leaving it up, not from like a...
Risking a regular season game for playoff information or potential, useful information and strategy going forward. Well, when we return, rivals who once battled at the top must fight for their playoff hopes. CLG versus TSM is coming up after the break.